Alright, so today I am going to change the brakes on a 2008 Chrysler 300, 5.7 in here, so I have the bigger brakes. And this is SRT design, so I do have the bigger brakes. I don't have the Brembo, but this is the next step down. In any case, this is the easiest, fastest thing that I have done on this car. I've had a first owner on it since I got it in 08, so I replaced it this way for the last 10 years. So basically what you're going to do is get your 18 millimeter socket. You're going to put it in the back right here. There's only 2 bolts, if you can see that. There's one up here at the top, and just find the opposite one down at the bottom. You're going to just take those 2 bolts off, which allows the caliper to be released, and then the rotor just slides off. I'm going to take these bolts off so that way you can see what I'm talking about. Hold on one second. Okay, so the bolts are out. Basically you want to put your socket on there. You can crack it with a hammer just to get it loose, get some little leverage on there. At this point, since both the bolts are out, this is going to slide off, and it shouldn't take that much to do. Mind you, I'm doing this with one hand. But as you see, the rotor's already come loose. Let me put the phone down real quick because I really don't want to bust my knuckles. Well, hold on. Yeah, hold on a sec, guys. Alright, so again, the rotor just slips off. Like so. Now, this rotor, I've already done the other side, and I took a look at this earlier. But the thing is this rotor really wasn't that bad. Neither was the brake pads in here. The brake pads actually were in really good condition. You can see that they're pretty thick. Now, the other side that I replaced, this is the other side. You can see there was nothing, just thin. So to give you an idea of what that looks like, these are used, see that, and then these are brand new. So the other side was worn. It was pulling a little bit to the right too, because you step on the brakes and they're uneven, you can have a problem. Now on my rotors, like I said, this one is not that bad. You could have it turned. I think it's like 15 bucks per rotor you have it turned, but then the problem is you got to wait a few hours or something like that. So it's $30 on top of, I mean, if put it like this, you can do it for 30 bucks. It takes your time, get them turned if you have enough meat on there. But if they're ground down too low, like this other one was grinding a lot, so I don't know if I had enough meat left on there, because they can't be too thin, otherwise they'll wobble, because it won't be enough for the brake pad to grab onto, and then it'll create inconsistency, and then you have vibration like that in your foot pedal, so, or your brake pedal. So to skip all of that, I typically buy OEM sets from eBay. OEM is like 69 bucks inclusive of pads, but as you see, mines are drilled and slotted. It's typically $74 to $89 a set, and you do get your pads with it too. And I do a lot of driving, so I spend a little bit more money to have the ventilation or the new technology or whatever in order to keep my shit cool, because I'm in traffic. And then I do go through the canyons every now and then, so I don't mind spending the extra money in order to have it cooler. So basically, you're just gonna slide that on like so. Now, some people get intimidated by bleeding brakes. Now, what I normally do, this side is not going to have to be done. Well, they're not going to have to be done. I'll tell you why. What I normally do is, when you take the caliper off, you typically have to push the couplers back right there in between and the left, in order to, because that's what creates the pressure on the brake pads when they squeeze the rotor. So what I normally do is leave the brake pad in there, and you just get a regular wood clamp like so. You put it on the, hold on, I'm gonna set it up for you so that way you can see what I'm talking about. I suppose I did want to show you how to put the brake pads in. Basically they slide in. There's notches right here that allow you to have as a guide. You can see that right there, and it just basically slides in place. And then you would slide the other side in. Hold on a second, get the other pad. Again, there's notches. Whoa. See if you can see that. And they slide in like so. Now, in this situation, they should just be able to slide right back onto the rotor, but I'm going to take this out so it's not in my way, and I'm going to show you how to put the clamp on should you need more space, and normally you would. So basically you're going to have the clamp go just like that, and you put it in the center of the brake pad, and all you got to do is crank it. When you crank it, it's going to push the caliper couplings back, and the important part is when you use the brake pad is that you push it back evenly, because if you push back one at a time, all it's going to do is just put pressure on the other one, and you certainly don't want to overextend that, because you overextend it, now you're buying a new set of calipers. So as you can see, a little bit it's going back. I didn't need to do that much because, like I said, these brake pads were good. If the brake pads were thinner, then the couplings will come out more, and that's why you have to recess them. So it was a real easy crank. As you just saw, I did it with one hand. So I'm gonna have more space allotment in between the brake pads, and it'll just slide right onto the rotor with no problem. And it alleviates the problem of having to literally bleed the brakes. The only other way to release that pressure is to undo the valve, and you can bleed them right here, which is taking out the brake fluid, so that way the pressure is released and allows the coupling to go back into the caliper. But I don't want to bleed my brakes, because then you got to worry about getting air out of it. Hold on a second, a little bit difficult for me to do this with one hand. All right, back in the game. So basically you're just going to tighten up the 2 screws that I told you in the back with your 18mm, which is here, and that is doing your brakes. Without video and me having to pause and stop, doing a brake job on a Chrysler shouldn't take no more than, I don't know, maybe 10-15 minutes, and you'd be all set. Make sure you pump your brakes when you start the motor, and then ease into them, and they should reset automatically as far as your brake pressure, and you'd be all good, off and running.